Yeah, you have to get I want to get a video clip in where, you know, it's like it's not that often unless you actually go to an event you get to see an artist actually create their work.
I sit and do this at local pubs or wherever I happen to be.
That has to be harder in your hands after a while, though.
It can get a little tedious, and sometimes my fingers go numb a little bit because I have a little bit of carpal tunnel. But
at least it's not from a computer keyboard.
I used to crochet, and I don't do that anymore because of the numbness in my hands. But this I can seem to do for longer.
Not only that, but it seems like it's easier to take a break doing something like that versus when you're crocheting.
Yeah, when you're crocheting, you're kind of stuck in the pattern that you're making, and if you stop in the middle of it, you can forget where you are. Here, it's like, okay, this isn't going anywhere until I do something with it.
Okay.
You know, crocheting, it could unravel.
Now, I actually want to take it back to the interview a little bit. A couple of questions. Thank you. Now that people are actually getting a chance to actually see you make your jewelry, like, do you ever hit a point where you're doing something? It's like you almost like, okay, I need to take a break from this. I'm kind of like with writers, I hit the creative block, and then just go on to something else and go back to that piece, or do you do everything straight through?
I generally finish a piece before starting another one. I don't like to work on more than one at a time. But I know what you mean about the writing. I also write. I haven't really shared that with you before, but I'm a writer as well. I write songs. I have an idea for a novel that I'd like to write. It's just a matter.
I better be the first one to review that thing, or I'm going to be pissed.
Okay. But it's just a matter of getting to the point where I actually am in a place where I'm motivated and comfortable and can relax.
And not only that,
right now I haven't been relaxed enough to do that.
Not only that, but there is such a thing as getting too many projects going at the same time.
Yes, and I've been making the jewelry, and I also make water fountains and do a little bit with my music. Not enough lately, but I need to get back into that as well.
I keep telling myself I started off as an author, and it's like, you know, over 2 years later, I have to get back into the author side. And I had a friend tell me that when I started up the magazine, I said, "What I have a feeling I'm going to have to make a choice between being an author and, you know, owning and publishing a magazine." She said, "Yeah, you are going to." I didn't believe her, and it's like over a year later, and I'm like, okay, yeah. I still have ideas for 5 great novels. When?
Yeah, it's a matter of time.
And you
gotta have the time and the freedom to do it.
And also the inspiration to do it at times too, where, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, if you try to force something, people will be able to tell.
Yes, exactly. And I find that with my jewelry, I don't necessarily need the motivation to create something out of the stones. The stone kind of, once I grab it in my hand, it's the motivation to complete it.
Okay.
Because
it's almost like you have a connection with it.
Yeah, and but with music or writing, I do need to be inspired. A lot of times I can't write a song or a poem or anything like that unless I'm feeling something big.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be sad or happy. It's just a lot of emotion, and when I'm feeling a lot of emotion is when I'm the most creative.
Okay, now do you ever get ideas, like, now this is going to sound kind of strange, but do you ever get ideas for, like with your music, when you're writing a song, does that ever give you an idea for something else, like totally different, or vice versa?
No, generally they seem to separate themselves pretty well.
Okay.
Like music stays musical, and my other creative outlets stay in their spaces.
Okay. Yeah, because I know sometimes, like, it's just the way the mind and the creative inspiration works. It's like sometimes you get ideas from the strangest places.
Yeah, exactly.
And from the strangest things that happen.
Yeah.
You know, like with me, it's like I come up with the best ideas for my magazine when I'm walking down the street.
Yeah.
And it's like, do not forget this by the time I have a chance to get it down.
Yeah. Well, that's the great thing about technology and the phones that they make nowadays. You can sit there and go on your phone and go into the notepad and just put in what you need to remember for later.
Yeah, but there's a danger to that when you're walking.
Yeah, I guess.
I can't tell you the amount of times I've almost walked into a vehicle that was turning and didn't even realize it until I'm about 3 feet away from it. So, you know, the whole texting and driving, I can verify how dangerous it is just from walking.
Yeah.
You know, or it'll be like, damn, I just walked 5 blocks already. You know, it's like, huh? So yeah, there is an actual danger to safety factor involved with this, as stupid as it may sound, you know?
No, I've been there where I was not paying attention and like almost walked into something and was like, oops.
Yeah.
Technology can be good and bad.
Yeah, that's part of life though, you know what I mean? Everything in life.
Everything. Yeah, everything can be good in life.
Having a beer or a glass of wine a day is good for you. But
drinking a case every day, not so good.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'm dead set against it personally, you know, smoking marijuana every once in a while can be good for you, but there's also a downside to it if you abuse it, like everything else.
And yeah, it's like that with anything.
Yeah.
Anything in moderation can be good.
Yeah.
Whenever you take anything to excess, it's always a chance to turn things bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, this just basically wound up part 1 of the interview. So.
You want to see the finished?
Yeah.
There's my finished piece.
Let me get a close up on that. That looks cool, and you did that in under 5 minutes.
pretty fun.
I just had, did have one other question for you while I'm thinking about it.
Sure.
Actually, 2. You mentioned that you sell a lot of it locally versus globally.
Yes.
Like, do you think that that especially as being an artist, where you have the ability to sell things online, do you think that basically we live in a global market in almost everything now, whether it's music, arts, you know, business or anything? Do you think that is actually that it's a lot harder to sell things online now because there's so much competition, so much harder to market online versus locally?
I think in a way, yes, because online there are so many different places you could go to get something like this. It may not be the same, but for me to be discovered on there by somebody who happens to be searching for something like this, the chances of that are slim to none. However, if I take my stuff out in public and I wear it out in public and I see people, then I always have people asking me about it. It's like, oh, that's really pretty. Where did you get that? It's like, you know, I made it.
Yeah.
And I end up, I think a lot of times the personal touch and the just connecting with somebody in person, face to face, makes handmade things more valuable to the person.
Makes sense. I mean, you know, because you put a lot of yourself into it, and it's, you know, it's something like, you know, the non-physical connection, shall we say.
Yeah, and I think it's just easier for people in person to appreciate crafts and artsy things than it is online.
To see a photo or a video of it. And
it's just not the same.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, photos and videos are great and they serve their purpose, but just connecting with somebody face to face and, you know, having a conversation with them.
I agree with you. As much as my life revolves around the virtual world, and I'm all for, you know, the next step of evolution where we create the next reality we live in the virtual world and everything.
Yeah.
The one-on-one conversation is, I actually like it. The only thing I don't like doing is talking on the phone.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of talking on the phone anymore. I would rather have a video call.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of those where, like, I still remember when I came back into the area in 2010, I even told my dad, do not call me. Send me a text, get a hold of me digitally. If you call me, chances are I'll forget about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, just get a hold of me digitally. I don't care.
Yeah.
Even smoke signals will work. So yeah, you actually prefer the one-on-one interaction versus the impersonal.
I do. I actually enjoy, like, I enjoy meeting somebody who's going to wear something that I've made, or who's going to use something that I've made, rather than just shipping it off to some stranger somewhere that I've never met or had a conversation with.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. Even like when for a while I was into collies, and I used to show and breed collies, and I bred a litter of puppies one time, and I had to know the people and make sure that the dogs were going to a good home and talk to their friends and vets and stuff like that before I would even let them have one of my dogs.
Yeah. Now my other question is, and this is just something I've never asked an artist yet, because I kind of shied away from it, but now I have a whole new attitude, and it's like, you know what? I don't hold back anymore. Like actually, the founder of the Phoenix Bridge, Patrick Lever, I can attribute that to him because when I interviewed him, he told me point blank, he said, "Don't hold back." So it's like, yeah, I like that attitude now. Actually, a lot of artists, a lot of artists say, when it's like you look at the prices and they're like, yeah, they're being told whether it's painting, whether it's jewelry or whatever, it's like, oh wow, well if we price our art too low, that's undervaluing it, and it basically, like the stock market, it'll bring down the whole market. Do you agree with that, or it's like, do you try to like price, do you try to create things that like, okay, if you're on minimum wage, somebody could afford. If you have a high-end job, do you try to like go for a wider audience, or do you try to keep it narrow?
I try to keep it as affordable as I can.
I mean, I realize that there is expense, for any artist to begin with.
The crystals themselves and the wire, none of this stuff is cheap.
Yeah.
To work with. And I don't even use sterling. If I use sterling, I would have to charge like $60 for one of these.
Yeah.
In order to actually make any money.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to use the copper wire that's plated, and then the crystals that I get from usually Lost River Caverns.
Okay.
And I also have a friend who goes digging for quartz crystals. So all of the clear quartz that I have is all from Pennsylvania.
So it's all
mined here.
So it's all local here.
Yeah, all the clear quartz that I have.
Now, do you ever like go on? I mean, I used to love walking the Ironton Rail Trail down Caddy and Copley and stuff, and I would take the side trails. Do you ever actually go like down along the river or something and actually, actually just like either look for or occasionally find stones that you actually use? Because I know there are different stones.
Once in a while, yeah, I'll just be walking along somewhere and find a stone that I like and just pick it up and take it home and use it.
Okay. Yeah, because I know this area is like has a lot of different types of everything from limestone on up. A lot of different.
Here actually is peacock coal.
It's what?
Peacock coal.
I've never heard of that stone in my life.
Coal mines, and it's like rainbow. Like the stone is actually kind of like a rainbow.
So that's the name of it that I find when I walk along the trails.
Peacock coal.
I never knew that.
Yep. It's very lightweight, easy to break.
So that's one where you would actually kind of wear it out on a special occasion versus every day?
Not necessarily. I think any of these can be worn daily.
Okay.
And then, like, you can also dress them up in, like, for instance, you could take something like this if you wanted to dress up and use the silk wrap, or you could just take some wrap and wear it more casually. So you can use the same stone and just present it differently depending on what you're doing.
Okay, so basically your jewelry can be worn as everything from everyday casual, going out to a rock concert in the field of nowhere, all the way up to like your even weddings and things like that.
Oh yeah.
So you don't.
I have some that I'll wear daily. I do take them off to shower because the deerskin cord is made of like a leathery type material and will get ruined if it gets wet all the time. But like say something like this, you put it on a necklace like this and it gives you a whole different feel.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like, I know some people try to design for specific occasions, or even for like people that go out to nice restaurants, and like like locally, like the Allentown Art Museum, their openings, we have to wear a suit and everything and really dress up.
Yeah. So
you basically, your style of jewelry is basically, you want people to be able to wear it, to like one person to buy your jewelry, and okay, like I said, there's a festival in the middle of the field, in the middle of nowhere, and they'll still look good in it. Or they could be going to a wedding and all of a sudden, wear a necklace or like a bracelet or something, or a charm or an earring, and all of a sudden people like, oh, where did you get that from? That looks really, really cool. So
yeah, and it's all in the presentation. Like I could take the same stone and put it on a different necklace, and it changes the appearance and it changes the vibe.
Okay.
From casual to dressy, or
Okay. Final question for this part. I apologize if I tacked a few more on, but you know how my brain works. Now, as far as let's go along that line. Where do you actually, when you create a piece, okay, do you actually decide what it's going to look like in the end? Do you actually think, okay, well, this could be worn for wedding, this could be worn more
No, I start working on it and I have no idea what it's going to turn out like.
So it basically takes on a life of its own.
Yep, I pick up the stone and I follow the curves and grooves of the stone with the wire until it turns itself into a pendant.
Okay.
And once I've gotten it to where I like everything on it, then I just put an end to it.
So basically, you let the stone tell you what it wants to, the finished product, the end result, versus you trying to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna knock this out. You know, this looks good. Okay, done deal.
Yeah, and I've seen people that do like similar styles for any stone. Like they'll just make a circle and put the stone inside of it.
Okay.
And it just kind of floats in there. And those are nice too. However, it's not personalizing anything.
Yeah.
And I like to personalize it, and each stone I think has a beauty of its own, and I like to bring out that beauty and use as little wire as possible. Like if you notice, most of my stones, there's not a lot of wire on there hiding the stone. It's the stone, and I use the wire to accent the stone and bring out the shape or the...
And also to like support it also, so it can be actually worn.
So that it's not going to go anywhere.
Okay, yeah, so this whole centerpiece is the stone, not the design of the wire that's on the stone.
Yes.
Okay, some people might do it different, you know, do the exact opposite, where they want to show off their artistic work and the stone's kind of like in the back, as like a backdrop for it.
Yeah, and I've seen that, and I think it kind of bastardizes the beauty of the stone.
Okay, cool. Well, now we are officially done with part one, I promise.